Yo, Thomas, what's up, man?
Not much, Richie. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Just
Yeah,
enjoying this nice, cool weather.
it was pretty cold on Halloween. Did
Yeah.
you did you guys go out?
No, we just gave out candy,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, it was too cold. What'd you do?
Same. Candy. We had a lot of trick or treaters.
Hmm.
Yeah, way more than we thought we would. I used to live over on Madrona Street, and we got like nothing there in Twin. And now I'm on Monroe. I get. I wasn't there at the house at the time, but I guess we got rid of all of our candy like
Oh,
within
well, that's good.
like
Well, not good for
30
you,
minutes.
but
Yeah, I think my fiance, she was kind of like just take all the candy because she kept having to get up because I wasn't there to hand out
yeah.
candy. She was busy doing something. She didn't want
And you
to.
can't sit there and be like, you know how they leave the big old bowl outside and
Oh
like take
yeah,
one,
I know there'll be like one kid will just freaking empty the whole
just
thing
empty
into
the whole
his
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, we just gave out candy.
Those dang pillowcasers, they can hold a lot of candy, man.
Yeah. Well, what's today, Thomas?
Election day, bro.
Election day.
Ah, yeah.
Damn. That time of the year already, huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are just kind of sitting, biting their nails. What's gonna happen?
Yeah. They they keep calling it like a historical um run for the presidency, but I mean, I think you have to give it some time before you know it's historical.
I feel like it's kind of a big one. I feel like
Hmm.
there's been a lot of tensions regarding a lot of sensitive topics, and people feel like it's just gonna be a big shift one way or another for the country, depending on who wins. Which is possible. It could be. I mean, I think a lot of people felt that way about the last two elections as well,
Right.
and we're all doing basically the same as we were last time.
Well, I don't know about the
I feel
same.
like, well, not the same. I feel like we're a little bit, I definitely don't have as much money in my pocket today as I did before. So,
No, yeah, this I think it's crazy what's happening in California that they passed a law saying you don't need an ID
oh
to
yeah,
vote. And
there's a few states I think that are doing that.
really,
I don't know exactly how many. I was just looking at that here on my phone actually.
yeah, California passed a
Um,
law, no ID to vote, which I think that's kind of shady because California is a democratical state, and you know the I don't know if it's illegals or what are they targeting to
yeah,
go and vote, you know, but
I don't know. I feel like there's only one reason, and that's to cheat one way or another. I mean, why would you not require ID to
yeah,
vote to
exactly,
prove that you are a citizen?
right.
You know.
No, yeah, I agree. A lot of people say, well, you know, they have a right to vote as well. Well, I don't know, because I can go to France and just be like, yeah, I'm visiting here, but I want to kind of vote for your prime minister, or I want to
Right.
vote for anything that has to do with their government policies. I mean, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So when people come over here and say, well, they have the right to vote as well, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a little gray line for me.
So besides a photo ID, what could you provide to kind of
You
ensure
don't need
that you're
anything.
yeah.
You
See,
just go in there
and
and
that's the
vote.
problem. I feel like you should have if you don't have a photo ID and you're required because I know there's going to be people that are saying, oh well, these group of people who are Americans don't have photo ID because of circumstances beyond their control.
Right.
Whatever those circumstances are. They don't have enough money to have an ID. They couldn't get an ID because they couldn't afford an ID. Something like that, I'm sure would be an excuse that could be given.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they just planned that really well. I mean, what they did is
who?
the Democratical
Yeah,
Party, the DNC, they allow all of this immigration come to the United States, and once they got to the United States, they allowed them to vote, and then after that, then what? Are you going to deport them? Like, what are you going to do with that
yeah.
situation now?
So now we have a big mess.
So
Yeah.
those
So
votes
you,
never even counted, or I don't
yeah,
know. You just need them to vote. That's why the Blue Party. I mean, I can't stand by it because they do a lot of crap like that, and it's
right.
just shady as shit.
Yeah, and I don't want to be too harsh one way or another, but I definitely obviously I've talked about it before. I lean right,
Hmm.
and I lean right uh for a lot of personal reasons, but I feel like there's definitely been a lot more shadiness going on that side than the right side.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm sure the left side disagrees wholeheartedly with me, and
Why do you think they're so scared of the red to win?
um, I don't know.
I
I
feel
because like we just had one election and Trump won and 4 years of Trump and then we had another and then we had 4 years of Biden and it's kind of like an extreme one way, extreme one the other way. But I definitely don't feel like the uh, the kind of craziness that's going on in
hmm
this last election that we did with Trump. I felt like we had more stable economy at the time. I was
no, I
having this
agree. Yeah,
yeah, and I was having this conversation with somebody, and they always shoot back at you. Well, that was because of the previous administrations
I don't.
laid the groundwork for Trump to have a good 4 years, make it look like he had a good 4 years
Well,
because, and now because of what he's done, we had a bad 4 years with Biden. So, at what point do you not blame the previous administration and take accountability?
I think as soon as they start,
You know,
they take accountability,
yeah,
and I don't feel like they can. They just want to blame Trump. Pretty much, that's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
you want to blame about the Obama administration, then Trump had to take over,
And
and
that's my
then
point. Yeah,
Obamacare, and then handle
yeah,
with the immigration law, and it's just a complete mess. And on top of that, when Trump was president, the COVID hit. That was even worse for the economy.
yeah,
But who are you gonna? You have to blame somebody.
yeah. And he talked about that, and you know, had to bail out some businesses. I think he got some criticism for that, for bailing out certain businesses that
hmm
I don't know which ones, but he had to help some. He said, and this and that, but and that probably hurt the economy as well. When you have to give money somewhere where you
Well,
wouldn't have had to otherwise because of a circumstances like COVID arising.
if if Biden was during the COVID, like right in the main part, like when Trump was in
Yeah.
the middle of COVID, I think we'd be in the Depression era.
Mm.
Because
Really?
yeah, this is why I think that when Trump was president, there was a lot of businesses in the United States. So a lot of the money that was
Mm.
flowing was coming through the United States. So prices were low, everything was low. Once the pandemic hit, then of course every inflation might go a little high. People losing their jobs or not going to work and so forth. But as an economy that is in the United States itself,
Yeah.
that money comes to the United States. So that kind of balanced out the COVID.
Yeah.
But if you had a president like what Joe Biden does and everything's overseas for relations, and he's pretty much saying, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. We buy oil from you guys, you do this for me.
Hmm.
And that having jobs at, a different area like China or wherever we get our I know we get a lot of automobile products from Mexico, and that would definitely drain us to the ground.
What? Just because of how much we look to other countries for
Yeah,
products
because
and
we'd
things
have
like
to look
that.
to the countries to other products instead of doing it through the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a big issue for a while, I feel like. And, you look at anything you buy in the store and what does it say on the back of it most times?
Made
It's
in China?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's an issue that we've had for a while.
And then this whole thing with inflation, with
But
war.
we're kind of addicted to cheap products too, So and
How
that's
so?
that's what China provides is cheap
You
products.
think, you think they're cheap
Yeah.
products?
Yeah, and a lot of stuff that we get are cheap or yeah. Well, it's just that they can provide them cheap, because of their
They're made
crappy
cheap,
labor
sell
laws. Yeah,
expensive.
so you're paying your freaking 10-year-old 10 cents for a week's worth
Yeah.
of work or something. I don't know what it.
And what's crazy is no one
But the
can say,
child labor laws are like ridiculous over there, and they don't
oh,
pay
yeah.
anybody anything over there. And over here, if we made a lot of products, I think the infrastructure it would take some time, but I think it would be better
And how many
overall.
jobs would it create?
A lot,
A lot of
yeah, a
jobs.
lot of jobs.
Employment
Yeah,
will go up off the roof.
yeah, yeah.
And I think I just don't understand why people don't want that. Like, what's the deal with wanting to trade overseas? Why not do everything here in America?
That's a good point.
Even
That's a
with
good
oil
point.
itself, why not drill here? I know,
Yeah.
I know they.
No,
So
they will probably. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, I know that when they drill oil, they drill it here, but then they buy it overseas just in case they run out. We're good.
mm,
Okay, so that kind of makes sense. I'm gonna buy a barrel of oil at $56 a barrel. I'm not sure exactly the price on that,
sure.
but
Just for
yeah,
hypothetical.
hypothetical, $56 dollars a barrel. But in case China, let's say China economic goes down and the oil business goes down, China's screwed, right? Because they're selling us the oil, but then we have oil here, so we're okay.
Yeah. So you're saying that if China stops producing oil or stops selling oil or their oil prices go way up, that
We'll still be
will
good.
still be good. Yeah, I think that we should be drilling, as much as we can, where we can. Don't throw all environmental risk out the window,
Right.
but I don't think that it was like bad during Trump's administration, and I think that we had a lot more oil production going
Yeah.
on during that
Texas,
administration. And
Alaska.
there was that pipeline, right, that he had started. I can't remember what it's called, but they shut it down once he was out of office, and that's one of the reasons why prices went up again on oil for us.
Yeah. Well, because he has to buy it through other
Like
countries.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
So
or
Saudi
something.
Arabia is huge for oil. They make so much money. I think I read something that a gallon of water costs more over in Saudi Arabia than a gallon of gasoline.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it is in like the middle of the desert.
Right. Yeah.
But
Makes
damn.
sense. But
Yeah.
they produce so much oil too.
Yeah, I think they can afford it.
Yeah.
and the problem is
Well,
too.
freaking Saudis, man, they're like trillionaires over there.
Oh yeah, they make so much
They
money,
make so much
and everything's
money. It's not like
probably
they,
based off
yeah,
oil.
they don't share it with they're not sharing it with their entire populace for sure.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Don't share it.
No, definitely not.
And then top of that, no one can have an opinion about it either.
Yeah.
I've heard people say they talk about the oil, how overseas is a lot better than here because we buy oil from them, they buy products from us, but I don't know anything that Saudi Arabia buys or needs from us.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
So what's sometimes makes me wonder what's the deal? Why are we buying over there, and what are they doing for us?
Yeah.
Same thing with this war in Ukraine. Same thing. We're funding the war, but actually NATO is supposed to be funding the war. Not just the United States, but NATO itself. But the United States has put $800 million into NATO. What has NATO been putting? And the thing that Joe Biden does,
that's a good question.
Joe Biden, what he does, he goes and says, well, here's some funding money. And what Trump does says, if you guys don't help out, I'm pulling this money out of NATO. And they're like, whoa, we can't do that.
Yeah. No, and I like that about Trump is he really tries to make sure that everybody, America's getting a good deal.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, and that we're not just getting the short stick.
That's why you need somebody like that, because I can't see Kamala Harris making deals,
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, he's friends with Putin and what's wrong with being friends with Putin?
Yeah.
I know he does this dumb bad shit, but you keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
It's not like he's sucking his, what? He's just he maintains a good relationship, and I feel like he strong arms where he needs to.
Yeah.
So that we're not getting walked all over.
Well, I know he got criticized for going to North Korea. Why wouldn't you go?
I don't know why.
Why wouldn't you want to go to North Korea?
I just saw that too.
The guy has nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, look at this. He's shaking his hand. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is not good. Trump is shaking Kim Jong-un's hand. What is going on?
Kim Jong-un told him, he goes, hey, I have a red button. And Trump goes, well, I have a bigger red button.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
what do you want to do? Let's just
do that to Kamala Harris. She'll be like, well, when I was a little kid and I was middle class.
Middle class. Yeah.
I didn't have a red button.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know that's what I always like to talk about. It's like every answer to every question from Kamala Harris is, well, I'm a middle class kid,
Well, she can't speak.
No.
She is a horrible speaker.
She has she's got a few practiced answers to some questions.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it never answers the question.
I guess every time she does an interview, she takes 2-3 days off to rehearse it for I don't know. She can't just speak.
Yeah.
It's simple ass questions that she should know.
Yeah, it shouldn't
about
be
when you say, well, how are you going to fix the inflation? Well, when I was a child, it's the same shit all the fucking time. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Dude.
And people have so much hatred for Trump that they rather go with somebody like that and run a country to deal with people like Putin and Kim Jong-un and Saudi Arabia. They will eat her alive.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, my goodness, what's
I'm a
going
little
on?
I'm a little bit worried, for the country if she does win. I want to believe, and I talked to my fiance about this because I lean right, she leans left. Neither one of us are super extreme either way, but we definitely disagree on a lot of stuff. She would definitely go for Kamala over Trump. You know, she doesn't always agree with Kamala, but she feels like she really does not want Trump. And I
See, that's what I'm saying. People just don't want Trump. They
Yeah,
don't look at
yeah.
the policies. They don't look
Then
at the business stature that he
exactly,
has. This guy's a
exactly.
businessman, so
Sure.
he's definitely going to run the country like a business. Like we need.
And is
the
that a
country
bad
to-
thing?
No,
I
absolutely
don't
not.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people look at it as like a bad thing for some reason.
I heard people say, "Oh, we're going to go back to cages, all the immigrants and everything." I'm like, he was already president. I didn't see anybody
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd say run it like a business, man.
run it like a
Yeah.
business.
You want to treat a good business owner treats his employees well.
Right.
I feel like Trump has been a good business owner. He has billions of dollars. And
Oh, yeah.
whenever I hear employees and stuff like that who have worked under Trump, he's a very generous person. He
Mm-hmm.
treats his employees well, as far as I've ever heard.
Well, you also I mean, I'm sure he has an insane amount of businesses, right? An insane amount of
Yeah.
things going
Property
on.
he
can't
owns.
be there all the time. So let's say a manager or whoever's running it while he's not there does something stupid, it's going to go in Trump's name. And that's
Yeah.
something that people need to be like, well, Trump can be everywhere at all times. So if a business goes bad or if there's an issue that goes bad, you can't just blame
You can't
Trump.
blame him every time.
You
yeah.
can't blame. He can't.
No,
There's no way he
no.
can control everything.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, he actually owns like 16% of Amazon or something like that.
Wow,
That's it.
that's where he got all that money, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's one of the obviously one of the wealthiest people in the world to own any bits of Amazon. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with just owning 1% of Amazon, you're probably well off for
Oh,
your
yeah.
entire life.
0.1%.
Yeah,
You're well
it's
off.
like more. It's like almost $1 trillion or something like that. I think
It's a crazy
It's
amount.
more than $500 billion. You know, more
Mhm.
than more than 3/4 of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in between there, but it's a lot of money, and you know, you don't. And but I hear bad things about Amazon too. I have a friend who works for Amazon,
Mhm.
and it sucks. He
Yeah.
says he works in a warehouse.
Well, that's
for
the thing.
Amazon, but-
Jeff Bezos can't be there. All the
yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly.
What do you think about Jeff Bezos in this? Like, he's neutral in this position. Usually they go
Yeah.
Democrat.
Yeah, I haven't really listened in on what Bezos
Mhm.
says about things political, so I don't know how he stands. I feel like he probably would lean right, but that's probably I think he feels a little bit threatened by all the I don't know, the bad press. I think that could provide him.
I know he's owner of the Washington Post,
Mm.
and yeah, they used to just bash on Republicans, and this year, like, I guess it's going down in ratings,
Yeah.
and people
Really?
aren't buying it no more.
Oh,
And
I
so
could be
he
wrong
stayed
then
neutral.
about him. Maybe he leans left and doesn't want to say anything
Doesn't
because of
wanna
how
say
bad because it's going
He's
bad.
not.
for
He's
him
not
being
Elon
bad.
Musk. Elon Musk.
Because I feel like it's been bad, a lot of bad press for the left this last administration. You know.
Well, yeah. Look who's representing them.
Yeah.
See, I'm more of like I'm not going to go always Republic. Whatever I think is better has better policies, and
Yeah.
whatever I think is a better person for the
Yeah.
job, I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
Right. I like Trump. I like his policies. I don't like the way he speaks. I don't like the whole tweeting thing. Like, you're president of the United States. You don't need to be tweeting every
Yeah,
fucking
I mean
5
it's
minutes.
it's funny here and it's like,
Yeah.
but that's not what we need.
But-
we need people to be, you know,
Professional.
professional. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like JD Vance.
I was just gonna say JD Vance is
Yeah.
a really good pick. I think
That's why
he's
I go
young.
for
He
the
speaks very well whenever he
highly
talks
intelligent,
about it.
speaks
Yeah.
very well, was in the military, and he
Yeah.
knows this thing. And then Tulsi Gabbard, I really like her.
Mm.
She's
I haven't listened to a lot of Tulsi. I've heard the name, but
RFK
Is it-
Jr. you
oh
know,
yeah, I've listened to him. I've heard
RFK
him, but
Jr. make
He
kids.
got into some hot water recently. I don't know.
Did
if
he?
you-
For what?
It was something stupid, like a dumb mistake from years ago, where he.
Of course, he went Republic, so now
Yeah,
all this-
now we're gonna drag him through the mud.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's something to do with like a bear that he hit when he was driving, like a cub,
yeah.
and it killed it. And he picked it up off the side of the road, and he was actually gonna go and process it, you know, for meat and all that, and the hide and stuff like that. So like it didn't go to waste, but he like didn't have time or something like that, and ended up dumping it in Central Park or something like that. And they found it, and it was a
Here you
big
go, kids.
story, and that nobody was amused by it. And
I'd
I
have
think
to look
years
into
later
that.
he admitted to it, and He got into got a lot of crap for it,
Jeez.
which I don't think that. I mean, it wasn't like a smart thing to do, but it was
No.
also like I don't think it destroys the man's career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He
What
admitted
can
it.
you do? The
He
bear
looked
got in
at
the
it as a
way.
mistake, you know. So it's like, hey, you owned up.
He
to
could
your
have left it
mistake.
there, but instead he decided to throw it at the park. So
Yeah, there's animals in the park that would process it. You
yeah,
know?
but I honestly feel RFK Jr. He's he because he's all into health and wellness, all the preservatives that are going into foods.
Yeah,
He's
that's a
like,
big thing
yeah, he says
that he's on,
they
and I
target
like
a lot of
that.
children, like
Mhm.
cereals and snacks that children eat. They put so much shit into it, and he's all about that, which
Yeah,
I really like.
yeah.
So
I know there's some things in the U.S. the way that they sell certain products and the regulations with the U.S. food, the FDA, how strict they are with stuff in the U.S. It wouldn't fly in a lot of countries.
no
Like there's a lot of things that we sell that would be illegal in other countries to
Fruit
sell.
Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops is
Fruit
one.
Loops is
Yeah,
illegal in
yeah.
Europe,
Oh yeah.
or
Okay.
the way they make Fruit Loops, I
Oh my
should
gosh,
say.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, I feel like cereal is one of the most unhealthy
Oh
of like
yeah,
any of the things.
full. It's so good though,
Man,
but
I loved cereal,
yeah,
man. I would still love cereal. I just got to a point where every time I ate it, it was like destroying my bowels. I would have diarrhea the next day for like the whole day.
well, it's because you're getting older, Thomas.
I guess so.
You ain't in
I
your
guess so.
chonies and those Ninja Turtle
Yeah,
chonies anymore,
yeah,
dude.
that's true.
Yeah,
Straight
but also
steps.
Elon Musk, he's really high of the Republic, but it actually benefits him because of the whole censorship that's going on with X.
Oh yeah.
Kamala Harris says, well, if there's censorship for Facebook, there should be censorship for X. And, Elon Musk is he's not gonna put
No.
up with that. That's the whole point. He bought it. Any
Yeah.
little thing you put
Yeah.
on Facebook, I don't know if you ever wrote
Yeah.
a comment that
Mhm.
Facebook flagged you for, and then you're on Facebook jail
Yeah.
for like 30 days. Has that happened to you?
It happened. It's happened like one time, I think, to me. It
Yeah.
was like 2 weeks. I was I couldn't post or comment, and then I'm listening to videos. Just certain words. All of a sudden, you can't say. Otherwise, you're demonetized or whatever. You can't say death. You can't say die. You can't say drugs. You can't say
Really?
yeah. A lot of
Wow.
stuff like that. You can't say a lot of certain words. It's just real stupid words too.
Well,
That you
what's
that
funny is that all these videos that you see on Instagram and Facebook
uh-huh.
about interview with Donald Trump or interview with Kamala Harris, all the editing they do, it's on Facebook, right? They edit that, make Kamala look better.
Oh
All the
yeah.
questions that she doesn't answer, they edit it for her. But luckily for Elon Musk, you can go to X and see the whole interview.
Mhm.
And dude, they do
Mhm.
not like that. They
Yeah.
do not like that at all.
Good. Yeah.
So
Who's that guy he interviewed, or he was interviewing him? He was like, "It's like you want censorship so bad you can taste it."
oh, Don Lemon.
Yeah, Don Lemon.
That
yeah.
guy's an idiot.
That
Lemon
was,
head.
that was so funny.
Yeah, he's like, you want censorship so bad you can
You
taste it.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
You desperately want censorship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But-
the thing with that, he's like, "No, I want hate speech to be censored." But who?
But that goes across your First Amendment, though. I mean, hate speech is not good. Let's just get that clear.
And who defines hate speech?
Yeah, who defines exactly? Who defines it?
So
What's hate speech?
What is hate speech? Exactly. So if it's some idea that you don't agree with, that can be considered hate speech. There was a lot of stuff during COVID that you couldn't say that could be deemed as hate speech, depending on if there was a controversial medication like that ivermectin or something like that. And
Well,
somebody
it's companies like Pfizer that pay a shitload of money to these fucking companies, like Facebook. They pay a shitload of money to, and if you say anything negative about it, they'll just take you out because they can't have that kind of rep.
Yeah. And then you had doctors who would come on and like say something to the contrary of what the government, whatever the government answer was to something, and an actual doctor come in and said something that didn't agree with what the government stated.
Mm-hmm.
Then that was considered, we have to censor that because
Yeah.
that was considered not safe speech
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah,
So
there's so many now. There's so many different forms of hate speech.
Yeah.
Back then, you'd get cursed out. That's hate speech. Right now, you talk about some kind of
Yeah.
medical issue and that you don't agree with.
And it had to be a very
Now it's hate
specific
speech.
type of cursing out. It had to be a very personal type of attack on
Yeah.
on something, like a physical trait of yours, like your skin color or something,
Right.
being some type of derogatory term that you were called could be considered hate speech. So that's different now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's still within the realm of hate speech, those things, but now we have this huge broad pool of topics and things you can't talk about. Otherwise, it's hate
Did you
speech.
see RFK Jr. call out Fauci out?
No.
Yeah, he wrote a book about
Mm.
him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he can't get sued because they're facts.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why I like RFK Jr.
I'm sure they would like to sue him. I'm sure they want to. They're
Oh,
trying to find out
all that
how
money,
they can
all
sue
that
him.
money that Pfizer made during the COVID era, it was just unbelievable. I mean, you're talking the billions,
Dude, a
billions.
lot of people made a lot of money for COVID.
Yeah.
So there was definitely an agenda there.
You know
I
what's
feel
scary
like.
about that is if they made a lot of money off COVID, they can be like, hey, we can do this. That's pretty much a chemical
Let's
weapon.
do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Why not?
You know,
Why not?
they
Seemed to go pretty good this last time.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything about it.
even when you go to doctors today, oh, you need these pills, and those doctors get bonuses off sending people to get
Yes,
medical
they do.
attention
It's so messed
with
up.
medicine.
So
Yeah,
messed up. The whole industry is freaking sucks.
it's all about money. All about money.
Yeah.
If I go to a doctor and they say, hey, you need to get some, I don't know, thyroid pills or whatever the case may be, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Just for you can get your fucking bonus.
Hmm. Have you seen that movie, John Q?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, with Denzel.
hmm
They talk a little bit about, there was like a scene where they say where doctors would, and I don't doubt that this has happened before, where a doctor would overlook certain symptoms or not run certain tests, and so that the insurance companies would write off checks to the doctor
Wow,
by the end of the year. And that was like something
that makes a
subject
lot of
that
sense because how much
Yeah.
money do they get?
Right. So the insurance company has to pay out so much money, if they end up diagnosing you with
Mhm.
some crazy heart defect, which in the movie, the kid, they say that they should have caught this kid's heart defect so that they could have gotten ahead of this thing before his heart was like in failure mode.
Right.
And they didn't in the movie. And so now he needs a new heart. And then in the movie, the doctor's like, yeah, it's like, it's possible that something like this could happen. And it's like, this. And then like the guy's like, this happens all the damn time. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I fiction, and often,
That actually happened in real life. You know that?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't doubt it.
That happened in real life.
Really?
But what happened was their son was going in a coma and they wanted to pull the plug and the dad wouldn't leave the room, so he had a gun the whole time in the room holding the kid,
wow.
and he ended up waking up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you should look. Anyone that's interested in that, look it up. It's pretty interesting. And the guy got like 2 years in prison or something, and that's it.
Amazing. I wonder if that was based on that.
I don't know if
the
it
movie
was based
on
off of that or
yeah.
not, but that actually did happen. Someone
Oh, that's
actually did
crazy.
that. You know what's crazy that somebody told me the other day was that your driver's license, they ask you if you want to be a donor, right? So
Yeah.
if something ever would happen to
Which I
anyone,
am.
yeah, me as well. But if something would have happened to someone that's a donor, they're less likely to help you survive, so they can donate, so they can get that money.
Oh,
Have you ever
really?
thought about that?
If that is what happens,
Yeah.
or it is a fact that happens? You think?
I don't want to say it does, but it could. It
That's
could
scary.
happen.
That's a scary.
Because
it's like, man, I need
someone's
to change,
willing to
I need
pay-
to change that.
Someone's willing to pay $100,000 for a new heart.
Yeah.
Because it's up there. I'm sure it probably is more than $100,000, right? And something happens to you, they can save you, right?
Yeah.
Or they can sell that heart for $100,000,
Yeah.
and then
Whatever else.
And
They
whatever
can,
else.
Whatever else they can harvest off. Of you.
Yeah, I've never thought about that until the other day. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, that don't make no sense.
Yeah. That it could.
How many people
Yeah, I
might have
don't know.
survived not being donors? Do you think? What is your percentage that happens?
I don't know. And it would be it's interesting to wonder that, because and where does the money go? Because you would assume if that did happen, that there would have to be people directly involved with
It
the choice.
Yeah, it goes to the hospital, it goes to the doctors, insurance gets
Yeah.
involved, they make their money back, they get
Yeah.
and some. But in your opinion, from a percentage wise, how much do you think that can be true?
I don't know. People are messed up. I'd say I want to be generous and say 10%.
10%?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I
not
want to be
generous. I was
generous.
going up higher.
I know. I don't want to be too pessimistic
Yeah.
about it. I would like to think that they would do everything they can to help somebody survive, whether they're a donor or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're like, oh well, the chances of them surviving are 20%, so we're
Mhm.
not even going to try. We're just going to take the lungs and the heart and the eyes and
Right.
everything we can.
That
And
is, yeah, we live in a messed up
yeah,
world.
yeah.
But I'm sure back then in the day, it was just as bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obviously they couldn't operate surgeries back then, but
Yeah, not into the same
all
effect
these
that they can
rituals they used to
now.
have back
Yeah.
then, I'm sure they did some crazy ass
Yeah,
shit.
surgery was often a death sentence back in the day. So
Yeah.
we were
But
just talking about it. Like they used to boil the instruments before they got autoclaves.
oh really?
Yeah, they would boil the instruments in water, which is actually a good idea if you have no other way to do
Hmm.
it. You need some way to kill bacteria, and that was like their best way at the time was just boiling instruments before
No
autoclave.
salt,
Yeah,
no
before
nothing, vinegar or anything.
I don't know what else other treatments they had. They may have had some type of specific like type of fluid that they were boiling it in. It's
Right.
mostly water. Maybe they had some mineral thing going on, but I don't know if it was. I don't know exactly what it was.
Another big thing with this political race is
Yeah.
the abortion. What's
Oh my
your
gosh.
intake on the abortion? I feel like we've talked about
We
this, but we really
have.
haven't
We
gotten into
have.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Abortion's definitely one of the tough ones to talk about,
Hmm.
especially us being guys and, you know, a lot of women would be like, "Well, it's not up to you to have any type of say in it because you're men and you don't have a uterus
Right.
and blah blah blah." It's like, but it also takes a man to have a baby, so um
Some people don't think that.
yeah.
Uh,
Right, right.
what I feel like the abortion situation. This is what I don't get about the system. Right? You can abort, and we talked about this last time. It was like what 8 months that we saw, 9 months in Minnesota that Governor Tim Walz passed the law that you can abort up to 8 months, something
Oh
crazy
yeah.
like that.
That is insane.
You
That is
can
insane. If
actually
that's true,
you
that
can
is insane.
abort a child at
Mhm.
7 months, 6 months, let's say, right? But if you kill a pregnant woman, that's double homicide. How does that make any sense?
Yeah, I thought it didn't. I thought there was no like
No life,
life
right?
there. Yeah, exactly. No, that's a great point actually to
I would
make.
love to ask somebody
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, that's messed up. And obviously, it's only convenient. It's only when it's convenient
The
for you
women.
that if it has life or not at that
Yeah,
point, right? And well, if I wanted the baby, it's alive. Okay,
right.
I don't want it. It's not
Yeah.
alive. I don't want that.
But if you,
Yeah,
this is what I also don't get. If you abort a child, there's no consequence, right? And I understand the whole my body, my choice deal. I get that, right?
yeah,
But if you abort a child, there's no consequence. But if you don't pay child support, you can go to jail. If the man doesn't support
yeah,
the child, you can go to
yeah.
jail. But
Hmm.
a living baby, not even, I mean, they say it's a fetus.
It's alive
it's
and can
alive.
feel pain,
Yes.
and
If there's a
it's
heartbeat, it's alive.
yeah,
And you can abort that child and not have any consequence. But if you don't pay child support, you go to jail.
yeah,
It's like so fucked up for the men, I
yeah.
believe. Like the men have, this should be a law that men have a say. I know this ain't going to be the popular answer, but men should have a say, right?
Yeah. No.
Especially if you're like married and you've been together for a while and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Men should have a say.
Especially if the whole thing was like a mutual,
That could be different.
if the whole thing if it was a mutual coming together of these two people.
Not at 6
and
months though.
yeah. No, yeah. No, I'm not saying to abort at all. I'm saying, okay, this is not a case of rape. This is not a case of incest. This is not a
Mhm.
case of this is two people consensually, conceived a baby, and now we want to abort that baby. To me, I feel like that's when abortion just shouldn't happen.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Just
I wouldn't change that opinion. It's like you guys did nothing to prevent the pregnancy.
You knew the whole time.
It was a consensual interaction between you two. So obviously, there's going to be this chance that you could conceive a child doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to, totally cut off any chance of this thing having a life. It had a life. It does have a life as soon
Yeah.
as it's conceived, as far as I'm concerned.
What about if it's about 4
but-
weeks, 5 weeks? It has no life yet. Are you opposed to it? Maybe
Again, I guess that just determines
because
where do you call, when do we start saying that it does have life?
Yeah,
Is it at the heartbeat?
I would say at the heartbeat.
Yeah. I don't know.
And a lot of religious beliefs are involved as well.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, it's like, man, you better take the pill the next day
yeah.
if you don't want this baby.
Actually,
Yeah.
it'd be probably cheaper too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That you have these people that maybe have like that's the whole thing. Also, that a lot of people have maybe like are on welfare and they can't afford stuff like that. They can't afford to go out to a hospital and get an abortion because I'm sure it's pretty expensive. So insurance
Yeah.
companies allow this, and who reaps the benefits? The insurance company.
Yeah.
Again,
Sure.
same thing with the medical, and same thing with that. It's always comes down to a bigger power.
I bet there's industry in this, you know.
Oh yeah.
I bet there's a lot of medical industry going on that surrounds abortion and people making lots of money off of this.
Yeah.
So I bet there's going to be a lot of pushback.
Yeah, if
You
it
know?
make no money, I don't see it being such as big of an
Yeah,
issue
yeah.
as people are doing.
Exactly.
But yeah,
If anything, we want more babies. We want more taxpayers. We want.
Yeah. And yeah, I believe Elon Musk also said that the world needs children. They need,
Yeah, a lot of people.
for civilization.
In his opinion, we
purposes.
have an underpopulation.
Yeah, we have an
problem, and
underpopulation.
not over, and it's become a popular opinion that it's an overpopulation.
But I don't know though.
I don't know either.
I don't know if this planet's crowded
Yeah.
or not. I mean, a couple 200-300 years ago, you were looking in maybe 1 billion people, if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And now it's about 6 billion.
Yeah,
Like,
I heard that China's going to have a real problem because of their birthing laws that they had.
Didn't they pass a law saying you're only allowed 2?
Something like that, but it's going to cause them. It's backfiring from what I understand because they had such a large population, right? And then they introduced this law where you can only have so many children. The majority of their population now is elderly, and so now you're going to have a lot of old people in your country rather than a lot of young people. So it's more important to have a lot of young people.
I believe that's
You
why
know.
also the COVID was a big thing for the elderly people because the world was overpopulated and they just wanted to wipe out the elderly. That could also be a theory, I believe.
Could be. Yeah.
Because it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're overpopulated, what better way to do it through a?
You want to know something I want to look up that I can't remember who. Maybe I've heard it once before, but who came up with the New World Order theory, where it's like they wanted to bring the world population down to like 500,000 or something like that.
How would they do that?
Yeah.
War?
War,
Yeah.
disease,
war, invade.
Yeah.
I don't know how
They could slowly, through vaccination, be causing us to have lower birth rates, maybe.
No, that makes perfect sense, but I don't see what benefit they would have only 500,000 people on this planet. I mean, we have here in the United States alone 300 million.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what benefit either. I there's like a big plaque somewhere. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it like basically just said that it wanted that the world population would be brought down to 5,000.
Well, then who's gonna-
500,000, I mean.
Who's going to go to Mars?
Yeah, exactly. If you have such a low population, where are you going to get all your money from?
Yeah, exactly.
Because these mother effers are so rich is because of, the dumb taxpayer like ourselves who just continues paying our taxes. Is like, which I'm not against paying my taxes. I think we should pay. I think we should have taxes. But again, this goes down to no taxation without representation.
Yeah.
We know where our money's going. We know that it's
Yeah.
for a good cause. We know that it's not. You're not giving me this COVID relief bill that's okay. I'm gonna get $1,000 because I haven't been to work for the last
After paying like 6,000 in
month
taxes
or something
more.
like that. Yeah, and also within this bill, you're giving X and X and X company, or not company but country, millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Well, look at
So
Ukraine. It's not even
put-
the billions; it's trillions.
Yeah, you put all this. You give all this money to these countries through these shady ways. You mask it through these bills that you pass through Congress. You call the bill one thing, but underneath all this other bureaucracy within that bill, you have like all this crappy spending going, all this money being wasted.
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally
Kamala
agree.
wants to like put freaking government spending into the prison so the prisoners can have freaking sex changes.
Yep, that's actually
Yeah,
a blue law.
yeah,
Um, they want, I guess, if you want a sex change, you can. I mean, if you're in life in prison, wouldn't you want to go to a women's prison?
sure,
I mean,
yeah,
is that even considered prison?
right, yeah, exactly. So come on, man.
Yeah. See,
Cut it off. I'm going to prison for life. Cut
these
it
people,
off.
these people are well educated. I'm not going to say they're not. They're well educated. They have to be if they're running for
Oh,
president.
for sure.
They
For
have
sure,
to be.
man.
What
They know how to work the
ideology
system.
do they think for 1 second that benefits anything? Like, what is going on? Why? What makes them say that? And there's a show called "What Is a Woman" by Matt Walsh. Have you seen it?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, you got these doctors.
I've heard him asking that question
Yeah.
to a lot of people.
You got these doctors and psychologists that like really smart human beings that they're like, oh yeah, of course, yeah. I don't know what a woman is exactly. What's your definition of a
All of
woman?
a sudden, it's 2020 and we don't know what women are anymore.
Yeah, you don't know what they are. And guess what? They want the money. They want to have
Yeah.
the sex change. They get a shitload of money off of that. They
Oh,
need
yeah.
that. That's a big payday for them.
Okay.
And then we go back to that again, the payday deal.
Yeah.
How much money can I get out of this situation?
Oh yeah. You're so right, dude. Everything does revolve around money.
They
There's
say
always somebody
they
that's
say
making
that's
a ton of money.
What I don't understand is they say, well, this person, you got to be you, and you got the. If you want to be a woman, you can be a woman. That's fine. I mean, okay, you want to wear pantyhose, you want to. That's your life. But then when you're using taxpayers' money, not even your own money,
Yeah, dude. It's
and then there's a law that passes that.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I definitely don't agree with it. They won't, and so the argument towards that is that this is life saving, because this person is so like depressed being a man or something that they can't be a woman, and to save this person's life, we got to give them the sex change operation so that they can feel, like how they can be the person who they feel they are inside. And
Well, yeah, and don't forget.
I'm not denying that maybe there's a mental health issue going on, and that they do need some help.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But
Well,
I don't think the answer is,
Don't forget also
yeah.
the money there. I mean, you got to
Right.
take medication.
Right.
You got to take hormones. I mean, you got to do a bunch of shit,
Yeah.
right? And that
Yeah.
costs money, more money for the insurance.
And not even to mention, they want to do this for children.
For children,
too.
yeah. Your brain is not even fully developed till you're 25. Well, on me, probably 35, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like 25,
Yeah.
you're
25
supposedly
to 28. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
your brain's not
could
fully
be-
developed.
Yeah. It could take all the way
I
up
can.
to 28.
When I was 12 years old, I did a lot of dumb shit that I'm like, right now, I'm like, man, that was stupid.
That
Why
was
would I do that?
retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And there's a lot of people, and there's kids that did have the gender reassignment, and they're like, why did you let me do that now that they're adults? They're like,
Yeah.
why? Like, that was the dumb. You can't let a kid.
But what's
have
going
that-
what's
Yeah.
going through their parents' mind?
I don't know. It's like, oh,
Like-
Jimmy's playing with dolls. That means, I guess,
Why
chop it
can't
off.
why can't you play with dolls with a dick? What's the problem with that?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. I don't
Like,
know
why pay all this
Yeah.
money for this? Yeah, it's fucking crazy. We live in a crazy ass world, dude.
I mean, if they want to have that, down the road when they're an adult and they can make that decision
Yeah.
through their adult brain.
no taxpayers' money.
Yeah, no taxpayers' money. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that's a cosmetic thing. That's
Braces are cosmetic, but not a sex change.
I would like to have LASIK eye surgery, covered by my insurance, but it's not because that's considered a cosmetic thing.
Yeah.
I could just get glasses instead. Insurance covers glasses, But if you want to have that, all the bells and whistles,
Do you know why?
LASIK,
Do you know why they'll cover glasses, but they won't cover LASIK? Because you're always going to need glasses. You're always going to have to pay for subscriptions.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
always going to have to. But once you get those eyes at 2020, well, you don't need them anymore. You go do
Yeah.
your yearly check,
for a
and
while.
that's it.
For a while, they do say that LASIK isn't like permanent, but
I don't know if it's permanent, but I know once you get old, a lot of people do like cataract surgeries
Yeah,
that fixes your vision.
Yeah,
It goes to 2020. But still, it's all about the money.
it is.
We need the
It's
money.
True. It's true.
So
I did kind of like price it out a little bit. It's almost like the same amount of money that you'd be spending on glasses as compared to like LASIK. If I would, because they were saying that because I was researching doing LASIK, because I've worn glasses since I was a kid, and it was like pretty close to the same amount of money as I would have been paying, or even or it would have been like even more money than I would have paid to get LASIK than
Mhm.
it would have been to just keep getting glasses. Just because I don't go as often as they say you should to get
Right.
glasses. I don't go every single year and get a new pair. I probably wear the same glasses for like 3 or 4 years or
But if
something
you have
like that.
if your insurance covered LASIK, you have, let's say, 100,000 people take LASIK.
Yeah.
How many people are going to go back to get a check? Like you said right now, you don't go
Mhm.
very often. So how
No.
much money is lost during that?
Yeah.
But
Could
if
be a lot.
yeah, if you
Because a
have
lot of people will do go every year, do their eye exam, get their glasses, and blah blah blah.
yeah. But if you need glasses, you have to. Let's
You
say
have to have them.
you go on a hike or a mountain climbing
Yeah.
or something. You drop your glasses, you break them. You're gonna have to pay again. Insurance is gonna pay.
It's true.
Insurance is getting money.
It's true.
So yeah, that's a messed up
Glasses,
situation.
yeah,
I
it's
didn't
a big
realize that till we
situation, too.
spoke right now. How the eye industry is
Dude,
pretty-
everything, man.
everything.
Everything. Down to the tiniest things, dude.
yeah. So my big question is, who do you think is gonna win?
I would think that Trump should win.
You
Just
think so?
based off of everything that's been going on, the way I've been, just how everything's been sounding. I feel like there's through social media, and I don't know if it's just because I'm right leaning that I hear all the good stuff about
Mhm.
the right and all the bad stuff about the left and whatnot.
Well, it
Could be
depends what
part of
channel
it.
too.
Yeah,
Because if you're on CNN, I mean,
Exactly.
I was watching CNN earlier. No, CNBC, sorry.
yeah,
And they were talking about
Yeah.
the Joe Rogan and Trump interview.
uh,
And I watched the whole interview myself. I watched the whole thing.
yeah,
And they were cutting out clips to make him sound like he was talking nonsense. Like he didn't
Oh.
know what the hell he was
hell
talking
yeah,
about.
sure.
It was the most craziest thing. I'm like, wow.
yeah.
And it made it look so real. Like it was just happening. Like
Mhm.
it was just a basic
Like,
conversation.
man, it sounds bad.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, good
Man,
God.
if I was on the left, I can see why they hate this guy. Or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
I
for sure.
like when Trump went to Joe Rogan.
But I didn't feel like that when I was listening to the debate with Kamala and Trump. And you just listen to that unedited. It is such a freaking like, let's just kill Trump,
Dude, I got tired of hearing this lady talk about
Yeah.
her middle class
Oh my god, every
family
freaking
and
question,
every damn question. Like, what do you think about abortion? Oh, well, when I was a little child,
I was
middle class,
yeah.
I had a lollipop. It's
No,
ridiculous.
yeah.
But when Trump went to the Joe Rogan show, they gave the same invitation to Kamala Harris, who
Yeah.
actually agreed to, but it had to be on her terms.
Yeah, they had to fly him out to where she wanted to meet, and
What kind of if
No.
you can't do an
it
interview?
had to be only 40 minutes. And
Yeah,
something
only
like
40
that.
minutes. And if you can't do an interview without people telling you what the fuck to say,
Yeah,
how can you run a country?
Yeah.
That tells me right there and then that there's people behind you holding you with
Yeah.
strings.
exactly. Joe Rogan said himself, that once I did the Trump interview and I got that type of offer, I was like, there's no way after doing the Trump interview and getting 3 hours, could I do something like that?
Well, yeah,
it has to be the exact same
Yeah.
as what you did with Trump.
He
at
he
that
actually
point,
did
you
a
know?
really smart thing because they can edit everything they wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
They can do whatever they
Oh,
could
yeah.
have made Kamala Harris look like a I don't know, something spectacular, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm just baffled about this shit that she can't sit down and just have a conversation.
I think it would have been really smart of her to do that.
Yeah,
because I feel like
absolutely.
Joe Rogan would have tried at least to be a little bit,
well, look
civil and talk to her. And
what
have a
happened right now.
conversation.
He endorsed Donald Trump last night.
Yeah, I think it was probably mostly based upon the fact how much they were trying to do things on their terms
Mm-hmm.
and not like allowing him to have that same playing field that he had with
Well,
Trump.
I've been
on
listening to
their
Joe Rogan for a
conversations.
long time, years, right?
Yeah, he
and
never
he-
wanted to.
He was always
Yeah.
about the blue. He was always
was,
Democrat.
yeah.
He even said no. I don't. He didn't even want Trump in the show. That's
He
how
didn't.
bad.
Yeah, he kept saying, "I don't want to support the
Yeah.
sport."
He doesn't want Trump in the show. He was always democratical. He always complained about how Trump is not a good president. This and boom, look what happened. One interview, dude. That's
Yeah.
the Trump effect, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. That's all it takes because there was no editing, no stipulations, no nothing. Just an honest sit down conversation,
Yeah.
and that's something Kamala Harris cannot do.
No.
Right. But how is she
It's
supposed to run
crazy,
a
bro.
country? And then
don't
the thing
know.
that messes me up too is now you got me going, Thomas.
No,
The
it's
thing
good.
that messes me up
Go.
is she talks about how she's going to fix everything. How are you going to fix everything if you've been doing it for the last 3.5 years? And then she goes, "Well, I'm not
Man.
Joe Biden." Well,
That's exactly, and that is such a bullcrap
that's bullshit.
thing
Yeah,
to say, because she literally said on every major decision she was a part of during that administration, and she would have done everything the exact same.
yeah. She's caught saying that several
You're Joe
times.
Biden, dude.
Yeah, you follow off Joe Biden. Whoever's controlling Joe Biden is going to control you,
Yeah.
and that's why they hate Trump, because they cannot control him.
Yeah.
You know, obviously,
Yeah.
if he's
No.
fucking tweeting shit all over the
No,
place,
dude.
you know.
Yeah, his own people, people that were in the Republican Party, I feel like that even some of them feel threatened by Trump, just because he's really not. He's really more for the people than anybody, I feel like, has been in the
Well, he don't
presidency for
benefit.
a long time.
Yeah, he don't benefit off of that.
It could it could be, who knows how long it's been since we had somebody that was as much for, the people.
I feel
like.
Obama was for the people.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think he did a lot of good. The only thing, and we talked about this, but the Obamacare situation wasn't the best choice, because the
I was gonna
Obamacare
say
took it
that.
off
Yeah.
inflation. It took it off our checks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they say government funding, there is no such thing as government funding. There is taxpayer funding.
Yeah. I feel like the Obamacare thing was probably the worst thing he did as president.
But I liked Obama because he was classy. He's well educated. He know how to
he
speak.
spoke well.
But he didn't have that fear that Trump pulls to
I
other
felt like
countries.
he was soft, man.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Did you see what Trump did to the Prince of Saudi Arabia? I think he was like the Prince of Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure, but he was high up there, and you're not allowed to touch him. And he just went and patted him right in the back and said,
Oh, yeah.
"Yep, I'm here."
Yeah.
And the guy just looked at him. See, he just doesn't give a shit.
Trump's
Dude.
like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, and that's why people don't like him. That's exactly why, because he has
Deal
all
with
that
it.
power. Yeah,
Deal with it. Yeah.
like North Korea.
That's what I'm saying. It's all like, this. I really feel like he's got the best interest of the American people. That's flat out what I feel. Like.
I totally agree.
Way more than any other candidate has in a while. I mean, I would even include Obama in that, but I don't know. I was, I was 8. I was probably when Biden was in, or when when Obama was in there. It's been, what has it been? Like 16 years.
16 years, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like it was yesterday, to be honest with you.
It feels like a long time.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a long time. I don't feel like I was the same person then. Maybe I would feel differently now. If Obama was in there currently, maybe I would like Obama more. Maybe I was probably influenced a little bit more by outside sources back then.
Right.
Than I am now.
Well, the media wasn't as corrupt as it is now either.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want the truth, you have to listen to podcasts. That's because you can't censor that.
You cannot listen to the mainstream news outlets.
Yeah.
You just cannot do it.
CNN, CNBC.
Yeah, you need unedited interviews with the candidates, with political constituents, and all that. You need unedited interviews, and you need to go watch them yourself.
I feel that they're like tampering, though, right? They're messing with the election by doing that.
By doing what?
And by convincing people that, yep, Trump's
talking like an idiot again.
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
me just play this 20-second clip of like a 20-minute
You're influencing
conversation,
people instead of giving them their choice.
Yeah. I feel like that is kind of
That's why they don't like him.
Yeah.
They don't like that. He can change that.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Yeah.
Because they will lose a lot of, they might go out of business. I don't know.
Mhm.
But Fox News, too, I'm not going to lie. It's a little
I feel like
biased.
they're all kind of
Oh, yeah.
going down. A lot of major news outlets are just
Yeah, people are listening
going
to podcasts.
down, dude. Just because, exactly. That's where a lot of people are like mainly listening to are the podcasts and the internet and stuff. The major news outlets are now involved in social media and stuff. They got on board that train pretty quick, but it's still like you just can't trust them. So, and most people I think know that. If I talk to anybody about anything political topics, you gotta be like, well, we gotta go listen to, and most times they agree, you gotta listen to the unedited interviews. You can't listen to the mainstream media outlets like MSNBC and CNN and Fox News and
Right.
just because exactly they're going to always be biased towards that way.
That should be illegal.
They're not going to let you just listen to what they say and decide for yourself.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's another thing that he might change. I don't know if he will or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, or he even doesn't care, or I don't know how that works. But I don't think the media should influence anybody. They should just let people have their own choice.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's the kind of corruption I'm talking about when it comes to Democraticals, because the editing, I mean, that's some fake shit, dude.
Yeah. Like, don't do that, man.
Yeah.
If you want to have a good reputation, just don't do that if you're going to be a news outlet.
But I don't know, maybe like you said, it's going downhill, and probably podcast is going to be the way to go. People are going to listen to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I listen to a lot of, I mean, I listen to a bunch of different topics on podcasts and stuff, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't even watch the news anymore.
It's the way to go. And it's way more, I feel, way more enlightening, especially towards a certain person's character. If you have any question about their character and what they
Yeah.
stand for, you just go and listen to them talk for 3 hours and you'll get an idea.
Well, and they also take advantage of the fact that, like, for instance, like a lot of people that come as immigrants, they maybe not listen to podcasts, right? So
Maybe.
how else were you going to
Probably.
influence them? By watching CNN, by watching CNBC,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And that's how they get their sources from. I've heard some people say some crazy ass shit like, "Oh yeah, illegals are going to go back to cages and they're going to." I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?
Yeah. I don't
How does
know
that
what
make
you
any sense?
I don't
We've
know what
already
you're
had,
saying.
and what they do is they show like, and this is the media outlet again. They show people in cages or whatever. Remember when they had that whole
Oh,
deportation?
yeah.
They showed they
Chip.
showed that like if they were living there,
Yeah.
right?
You know the cages pictures?
Yeah,
Yeah. That was during Obama's administration.
really.
Yes.
Wow,
And they played it off like that was something Trump did.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
Wow. So see, there you go.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. And a good point is like the separation of family issue. Okay, so if you were to go break the law and go to prison, can you bring your child with you?
Of course not. No.
No. So I
So
think
they
that
use
that's
that for their favor in their favor.
yeah. So why? What are you gonna say? You're gonna say you're separating families because they decided to break the law. Well, that would happen no matter what.
Yeah. And like,
Whether you're an American citizen, a legal immigrant, you can't just bring your family with you to prison.
yeah.
You know.
And how's it fair to anyone that does it the right way? You know, I don't mind having
I don't know.
illegals. I mean, not illegals, but I don't mind having people from other countries come to the United States because this country was founded off
Absolutely, man.
immigration,
Please
pretty
come
much.
to the United
Yeah, come
States.
to the
You
United
know,
States.
do it.
I love the whole different
Yeah,
culture wise.
yeah,
I don't mind any of that.
yeah,
What I mind is people coming here. You don't know who the hell they are.
yeah.
You don't know what they've done. You don't know
Exactly.
their past.
Exactly.
And they commit a crime and you can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
I heard today that people that are trying to cross the United States, open borders, there's 300,000 children missing. Where are these
Wow.
kids?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that though.
Mm-mm.
Of course, because why? Because the media controls it. Because if someone would say, yeah, there's 300,000 kids missing, well, how's that going to look during an election day?
Not good. Is it 300,000 children that are also crossing with their families?
Yeah,
and
they're crossing with
and then
their
suddenly
they're crossing with their families, and they have we have some guests in the house. Yeah, they're crossing with their families,
Mm-hmm.
and what's happening is they they're missing.
And
Where are they at?
can't account for.
And like we were talking about earlier, there's a big issue here in this world with kids getting abducted for parts.
Oh.
You know, they make money off of that.
Oh.
It's not talked about, but I'm
Yeah,
sure it happens.
They call that a conspiracy, probably.
Maybe.
But is that? I mean,
But where are these fucking kids going?
hey, we already said the truth is often stranger than fiction, man.
Yeah.
So I would out. It's a scary world out there, man.
My brain
So
can't comprehend that. 300,000
Who
people.
knows? Who knows?
Not people,
That's
3,000.
scary. That's scary to think about.
Yeah, 300,000 kids. That's oh man, I can't. But
Yeah.
and that's what the
That's
media
really
goes
sad,
on.
too.
That's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
You know, and they just trying to make a better life. We get that.
I get it, trying to make a better life and all that. There's a right way and a wrong way to come in to the
And
to
I'm
the country,
sure
so
the
just
government
do it by the right way.
the government at their countries make it even harder for them to do it because they don't don't
Yeah.
want them to leave,
Sure.
right? Because
Sure.
what happens if a bunch of, let's say you get 100,000 French people move to the United States, well, your economy goes down because you lose workers, you lose jobs, you have to replace those jobs,
Yeah.
and people don't think about that, right?
Yeah.
So what should you do? You make it harder for them to even come to the United States. So it's a lose-lose, to be honest.
Yeah.
So they got to fix that system. They got
Yeah.
to do some kind of
Definitely. I know it's a lot easier to get into, like, a lot of people I know, especially in agriculture, there's like these, like the work visas where you're not technically a citizen, but you are allowed to come in and work and stuff like that. And but that's got to be like the gateway to becoming a citizen is doing stuff like that. And
Well,
it's got to be part of the right way.
yeah, they
feel
got to do
like,
the right.
you know.
Well, actually, that actually happened during World War One. Did I ever tell you about that? The immigration law that they had? They would have all the crops and fields, agriculture pretty much. Well, they weren't getting worked on because they're all overseas fighting the World War One. So who was going to do it? So they'd make these.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they would have man. What was the act called? But they passed a law that they can be there for 6 months. Well, 6 months turned into a year. Obviously, the war took a lot longer than that,
going,
right?
Yeah.
They kept going, so they would bring their families, and they would bring. So the United States is actually the ones that started that, and a lot of people don't understand it. And then they complain about it now when they can't control it. So
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that's definitely probably contributed.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's been nonstop then, but yeah, I mean, my heart out goes to those kids. Nobody talks about it. Nobody.
Yeah.
But of course they're not.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. That it's just like a totally like they just can't even account for these lives.
Well, they can't count them. They don't know where they're at, what their name, no info, no nothing.
Right.
So, and did you ever look into the Trump said that there was prisoners from Venezuela coming to the United States? How much do you think that's fact and fiction in there?
I don't know. I haven't read up on that a lot. So he said that there's prisoners from Venezuela.
Yeah. So what Venezuela is doing is releasing
like the Venezuelan gangs and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, they release their prisoners, right? Which is economical good for them because they don't have to support them anymore. They come to the United States. They say, if you come back, we'll put you back in prison. They come to the United States illegally, and I know for a fact, I know 100% sure they come to the United States and commit the same crimes, but you can't catch them.
Yeah, they're not in any type of system.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah, I think for rapists in the last 2 years, it's been going up like 14, 15% for rapists and for women getting beat and murdered.
Wow.
And not from just any average Joe, it's from someone they can't get a hold of because they have no papers.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's really bad if that's what's going on. You got to definitely look at that as something to, I don't know.
But yeah, tonight's going to be the night. So
tonight's going to be the night, dude. It could be. They said that it could be a while. Like it could be a few weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, tonight's going to be the night they close it. Done deal.
Yeah,
we're going to start counting. But I know a lot of people like already pre-voted, like early votes.
Yeah.
I'm sure they, like for instance, if you have let's say Idaho has 1.5 million, they have. I don't know if they have that much people here.
It's like 2.5.
Yeah.
It's like 2.
Well, let's just say 1.5 million. 1 million people voted for Trump. 400,000 people voted for Kamala. That's already a done deal. You can have 100,000 people already vote, and it's still. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of states already spoken for.
I wanted to ask you about that. Somebody was telling me that there is. At what point does the popular vote matter, if ever? At what point? It does. Is there ever a point where it would matter?
No, it doesn't matter now if you don't have an ID.
The electoral college decides who the president is, and not the popular vote, because they always have like, okay, they won the electoral college. That's who becomes president, not the person who actually got the most actual votes.
Well, so
is there ever a point where like, okay, so they've tied in the electoral colleges, do they go to the popular vote at that point, or is there ever a point where the popular vote?
I think if it's close, they'll go to the popular vote.
Yeah.
And see, but that's to me that's corruption. Like
somebody told me they go to Congress. They go to Congress to decide at that point.
That's because then obviously if that happens, then your vote didn't really count. They're just Congress is just gonna decide who won that state. They should just go by the numbers, and whoever votes. And this whole mailing.
Yeah, I think that it should have always been, and they should get rid of the electoral college, and it should just be one vote. The proposition
left
one
or
thing
right.
I don't agree with. I think it should be one vote for one candidate, and whoever gets the most votes wins.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how it should. But why wouldn't they do that? Because
it's another way that they can.
Yeah, they can manipulate the system
it a little bit more. Yeah,
just the same way.
Because I feel like maybe the Democratic Party is a little bit more divided, possibly, than the Republican Party.
I think they are too, and that's a lot got to do with like Joe Biden. I'm sure a lot of those. You can't be naive. You knew he can't run the country. Kamala Harris can't run the country.
So maybe I want to vote for so and so over here, but that's not going to end up being the one that actually wins. So I'll vote for them as my first, but my secondary choice will be Joe Biden or something like that. It's like or Kamala Harris or whoever it happens to be.
Same
running,
shit.
So So it's one of those things. I feel like it's just another way for them to kind of manipulate it into their favor.
And what I don't understand, it's all democratical. It's all the Democratic Party doing all this shit.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Well, Trump has a bunch of felonies." Well, he didn't have any felonies until he started running for president, right?
Mm-hmm.
All his felonies were from supposedly tampering with the funding for the Republican Party when he would go and run for president.
Man, they were trying to get him on a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh God, dude, they had like up to 70.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna put him in prison. You're gonna put this guy in prison because supposedly he funded himself. Because that's obviously they can't do that, right?
Yeah.
They can't fund themselves. And if
They
they
can't
could,
they can't. Fund
no,
themselves?
he can't put any money in his funding campaign.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So if he put that, that's what his charges are
Mm.
for putting money. They're claiming that he actually put money in his own campaign.
I feel like that should be.
Well,
I feel like
they do
should
that
be
because
allowed.
it wouldn't be fair. You can get some billionaire running
Oh,
for
sure.
president, and then the other person just has no chance. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you got someone like Hillary Clinton who fucking hid all those
Which
emails.
is weird to
and-
me. I feel like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying about
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, who what she did was complete bullshit, and what she did with all those files and hid all those emails and everything,
Oh yeah.
and top secret.
Mhm.
Supposedly they were top secret. I'm not even sure that she all let out. She shouldn't be in prison for that. But
Yeah, I heard that it seemed very deliberate destruction of emails.
well, yeah.
you
Well,
know,
when
with-
they're trying to put Trump into prison, right? He could have put Hillary Clinton easily into prison. He decided not to
Mm.
because it said it would give him a bad image as a
Yeah,
president.
yeah,
Which, yeah, makes sense.
yeah. No, I think that was probably a smart move. But yeah, I feel like there definitely should have been something with the whole email thing with Hillary Clinton. Sorry, you said the emails, and now I want to latch onto that. But anyways, I won't get too much into
Well,
it.
Joe Biden's son also had a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, the
thing.
Hunter Biden laptop, and so
yeah. But
I think Democratic Party right now is a complete disaster. Maybe in 4, I think if JD Vance runs in 4 years, that's where I'm going to lean towards.
no,
I really like the
it.
guy.
I like him. I like JD Vance. I like JFK, or not JFK, but RFK, and
Yeah.
I think that those guys could be some, especially JD
Yeah.
Vance. He's young. He's going to be in the political
Tulsi Gabbard.
spectrum
I like Tulsi
for a long
Gabbard.
time.
She was
Tulsi Gabbard.
she was in the
I'll have to
military.
look into her.
Yeah,
I'll see.
she's a
Yeah.
great representative.
Mhm.
But yeah, so anything else you want to say?
No, it's going
No.
to be an exciting next few weeks. See
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, I believe. And at this point, I feel like Trump might win it, but again, look what happened last year. People they had their hatred for Trump so much that they decided to go Joe Biden and inflate and go down in our economy.
But I think that could have been especially for this election, it could have played in the favor of Trump because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, a lot of Democrats even, saw like this is not going how we thought it would lead. Maybe it wouldn't have been so bad to have Trump.
Yeah. I just thought about this right now. Did you know FDR is the only president ever to run for 4 terms?
No,
4 terms, dude.
I didn't know that. I wonder,
Yeah.
how did he swing that?
That's how
was,
good.
was it just not illegal at that time?
At that time, yeah, you
It
could have
was-
ran
you
as many
could-
times as you want,
Oh,
but
really?
as
Oh.
on his 4th term, he ended up dying. He had polio.
Oh, holy crap!
Yeah, but 4 terms. Can you imagine if we had 4 terms of Joe Biden?
Oh yeah.
That would be
Oh
insane.
my gosh, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would happen just based off the last.
Oh,
I
dude.
think people would have been like, "Okay, we're done with you."
Yeah, we'd have the purge all over again.
yeah.
All right, well, folks. Well, if you have a chance, go out there and vote, and if not, well, it might be too late.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right. Have a good night. Be
Have
safe.
a good night.